How can German support be made effective at the local level as for promoting Nepal German relation?
Germany wishes to be a partner of Nepal in the 21st century. This means industrialization of the 21st century and also democracy. And in both of these aspects, local governments in Nepal are absolutely essential. That's why Germany wishes to support local governments. We believe that the local governments have all the skills they need to be successful. What they need is sharing of experience and making the best practices when they share experience. That's why we have been engaging in the FAR in making it possible for the governments, for the mayors, to meet other mayors and to have best practices. If you look, for instance, we have here a large book which has been made already by the mayors themselves. For instance, if a mayor wishes to have a new system of transport, public transport, he will need a feasibility study. And for that, he will need an expert. And now to hire this expert and to make the right criteria for the study, that's where he can get German help. In this way, we think that it's the mayors who are essential for democracy and economic development in Nepal, and that's why we want to support the mayors and also how they work together.
How can German high tech be made productive and effective in the sustainable development for Nepal?
Well, Nepal is a country whose future lies not necessarily in big industry. It lies in 21st century industrialization. This means skilled labor. This means high-tech production, for instance, of car parts or of in information technology. And that is something where Nepali has a comparative advantage over other countries. This is one thing. The other one is that Nepal needs to manage its relations with the two neighbors, China and India, and the more it can offer good regulation and clear quality control of the goods it produces and it transfers from China to India or from India to China, the more it can be of service to both countries. So it is high-skilled labor which can produce high-tech products and then market them even in the big markets of India and China. And this is, I think, the future for Nepal. It can learn a lot from the example of Germany or of Switzerland or of Austria, of the European countries. Because we are strong not because of raw material or of, let's say, big production of energy. We are good because we produce high quality products. And I think Nepal can do this in the 21st century.
What are and will be the support of the German government in the establishment of TVET in Dading?
Well, we are quite happy that Dading is seeing now the birth of a new school of professional training, mainly for the jobs which are needed in electricity generation, in hydropower. This is a German firm, a private initiative who has done this, and the German government has been happy to follow that private initiative. You should know that in Germany, professional training is financed for half of its budget by the private industry, not by the state. Only half of the money comes from the state. That's why we think it's important that also private industry invests in the new school in Dading. We have been supporting through a program which allowed experts to come and help building this. We'll continue to do that. But I think this is only one part. The main part, I think, is that we are also following up with the government of Nepal to establish a framework which would allow this example to be imitated by other schools in the country. We work closely with the Swiss government, who has been working with the government of Nepal to establish a framework for professional training. And I think if the national government and the local governments work together and the private industry comes in, then this can be a success story.
What is the nature of the German government's technical education?
Well, you know, technical training and professional education is the backbone of German industry, and it's the reason for export success. We have more than half of each age group which goes into technical training. Each year we have about 500,000 young people who go into technical training and only 400 who go into academic studies. So we have more people going into technical training than we have for academic studies. And this technical training is 3 years, so it's a very high quality training. It's not for the ones who are not good at school. It's really for the high quality skilled workers who then are able to communicate with the engineers and produce the things which make Germany strong. We believe this is also the example for Nepal, that it's for the highly skilled workers, and what Nepal needs, just as any other medium-sized country in this world, is skills, 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 and that's the way we Germans do it.
What will be the role of German government to solve the current problem in the education system of Nepal?
We cannot solve the problems of Nepal. This is for Nepal itself to do. What we can do as Germans is be a partner, we can give advice, and we can give examples. And I think we have the same vision. If you listen to Prime Minister Oli, he wishes to strengthen vocational training. This is what Germany also feels is the path to success. So we have the same vision for the country. Now, it's in the details that the work has to be done every day. And that's why we think that the next step is to have an interest of private industry in helping the professional training system of the state to grow. I'm not advocating private schools. I'm advocating the involvement of the private sector in state schools. It's the private sector, the industry, which must define what are the curricula, what are the things the people should be learning, how does the training have to look like so that the product of the training, the trainee, is immediately to be used in the firm. So there needs to be a very close connection, but of the state professional training system and the industry. That is how we do it in Germany. In Germany, half of the finance, as I said, comes from the private industry, but they're also involved in running the courses. But it's always a cooperation between the state and the industry. It's not private schools. And I think in that sense, the German example, and this school, which is just one school, but we hope many more will be there, can be an example of how it can work.
Germany has been a major supporter in Nepal in a different sector like health, education, and sustainable development in Nepal. What are the reasons that no effective results has been seen so far? What are the reasons behind it?
There is an assumption in your question that there were no tangible results. I don't really agree with that. I think Nepal has seen 10 years of civil war and then more than 12 years of ever-changing governments. And only now, it's the first time that for a long, long, long period, for decades, even the whole of history of Nepal, there is a stable government. So to judge about the results of that stable government, I think you have to go 3 more years when the end of the mandate is there, and Prime Minister Oli will go in front of the electorate and say, this is what I have done, and you have to judge me. What has happened so far with the German cooperation was not without success. We have advised the government in starting a health insurance system, and that is being now extended to the whole country. That's a very big progress, that the individual who is becoming sick does not have to sell your own house and any other things you possess in order to be treated. That's something new, which I think we have been able to do with the government, and we are proud to work with this government. Also in terms of energy, load shedding is finished in Nepal. Not the power cuts, but the load shedding is finished. That's a success. And you might still remember that 19% of the NEA's installed capacity comes from a German project, which is Mittelmarsandi, the hydropower project there. So there isn't, it's not enough, certainly. Nepal has a long way to go, but there is not no success. And we are confident that working with the government at all three levels, the central level, the provincial level, and the local level, Nepal can achieve what it needs to be achieved to be a successful country in the 21st century. Well, my big job as an ambassador is going to be to raise the interest of private investment. What Nepal needs is the involvement of private investors from abroad. Of course, there are many investors from India and from China, but what German or European investors can bring is skills development, high tech, and good connections to the production sites in the European Union. That is something which is needed and which Nepal will need in order to be able to balance its specific situation between China and India. And for this, there is a first start. We've had the investment summit last month. Now we have to implement that. And that is going to be a job I think the government will need to continue with its messages of wishing foreign direct investment to come into the country, but also to implement, to tame the bureaucracy, to offer good ways of repatriating gains and profits which have been made in the country. But above all, what we need is the rule of law. If the government can guarantee a stable environment, I'm sure that over time foreign investors will come, and that is what I also work on.
Dear Ambassador, at the end, do you want to tell something to people of Nepal?
Well, I think the main message is confidence. The Nepali people has gone through so many difficult times and has come to such a successful peace process so far. Things need to be done there as well. But it's such a skillful people that there should be every confidence for the future. And confidence means invest in the own country, invest in your own skills, and work together. This is what the Nepal we want to see in the future, a successful Nepal, democratic and industrialized. And Germany wishes to be a partner of that country.
Thank you.